following program is paid for and presented by John DeMasi. The opinions expressed are not those of Town Square Media or station advertisers.
WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Well, are you enjoying the heat wave? Of course you are. I know the shore loves it. Business owners love it. Everybody loves it. Bring your wallets. Folks from out of town, enjoy. Let's keep it going. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, right here, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM and also heard on WPGTalkRadio.com. So you have many, many ways to listen to us, and we hope that you do for the next 3 hours. We've got a lot to talk about here, as always, on the show. And we welcome your participation. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. We do have a lot to talk about today here on the show, and we'll have some fun exchanging with your calls and et cetera, et cetera. It's you and me today. It's straight 3 hours of talk right here on WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Again, 609-407-1450, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. I thought I would have a bit of a departure today. Normally, we talk a lot about Trump and the election, and we will get to that. And, of course, Trump is going to Philadelphia today, which I will not be doing. I want to talk about, this is really, it's confusing and disturbing and etc. I want to talk about today, to start the show, the surprising and disturbing and confusing indictment of the so-called power broker of New Jersey, and that is George Norcross. I'm surprised because the indictment comes now after supposedly Norcross got away with what he got away with for many years. I mean, the indictments go back to 2012, I believe. Maybe it's the season for indictments. I mean, they're indicting. I mean, they're going to indict a ham sandwich before you know it. It's disturbing because if all of these allegations are true, and I assume some of them are, it brings up the question, who is running the show in Atlantic, Camden, or any county in New Jersey? After all, did we ever elect George Norcross to an office? I mean, who is he? He's never been elected to office. And it's confusing because who decided to indict a gentleman for all that he's done? It's like a mafia don. There are 111 pages and 12 years of development history in and around Camden. I can't even begin to unravel it because I'm thoroughly confused. It reads like a jigsaw puzzle. So that's why I say it's confusing. And then the patronage jobs that went with it. Former Camden Mayor Dana Red gets a $275,000 a year job. Wouldn't you like to get that job? I mean, people would stand in line for that, but she was appointed. And they created it, and they moved people around. If this is how government is really run, we should all be outraged. And the fact that it took 12 years to do it is incredible, and this, quite frankly, I think it's disturbing. Again, this reads like a couple of episodes of The Sopranos. I'm waiting for George Norcross to say, "Pass the gabagool." I mean, come on. Tax breaks, handshakes, side deals, all part of the Norcross way. And again, who is he? And why does he get to be in this position? I guess he created it. And how did he create it? I just don't. I've heard the name over the years. And when we come to elections around here, the Democrats, he does what Norcross says. And I'm thinking, who is this guy? We didn't elect George Norcross. We elected whoever we elected. And whenever, on my show, I've had many politicians on. And that's the normal course of action. You get a politician, you talk about the issues, how he's doing what he's doing. But now you have to go behind the scenes and say, well, the real guy who's pushing the buttons. It's like that Wizard of Oz scene. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. But you got to pay attention to the man behind the curtain because that man is George Norcross. And, as you would expect, Attorney General Matt Platkin and Norcross have been at odds for years. This goes back to when the Murphy campaign in 2017. You remember that campaign staffer who was accused of sexual misconduct? Well, at that time, the State Senate Committee had concluded that Murphy's office had seriously mishandled the situation and that Attorney General Platkin, who was not the Attorney General at the time, had maintained sloppy legal decisions. The bottom line is this. This is not how our government was designed in the Constitution. Yes, there is room for compromise. Yes, there is room for negotiation. And yes, there is room for a back and forth. But this is nothing more than bullying, manipulation, etc. And maybe it's a good thing now that the Attorney General has decided to indict George Norcross, because maybe, and again, we can't speculate any further, but maybe it's an end to this system. I mean, can you imagine if you're elected, and let's say you're in a neighborhood and there's a committee man, and it was like that way in my neighborhood, and you go to the committee man and you ask him for something or whatever. Oh, I got to talk to the butcher. Well, who's the butcher? Well, he runs the butcher shop, but he's also the boss of the political machine. What kind of, you understand? What kind of a system do we have? That says something about the whole political system. We don't know who's in charge. It's like the Abbott Costello routine. Who's on first? No, he's on second. What's on third? It's almost like a comedy routine. Who is in charge? Are the politicians in charge? And it's not just here. It's probably in a lot of other counties. But I focus on this one because we live here. Is this the end of the Norcross regime? Or is this just a blip on the radar? That's the question. I hope it's the end of this system, because this doesn't work for me. And I'm sure it doesn't work for you, but it's been going on for years and years and years. Tax breaks, and I mean, this guy Norcross, he lives in Florida with the millionaires. And how did he get that? By being the power broker in South Jersey? I mean, this is just a ridiculous situation. And I hope it stops. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi, 609-407-1450. We'll get to your calls. But first, we always like to hear what Seth Grossman has to say, and I'm sure he has plenty to say. Good morning, Seth. Liberty and prosperity is his cause, and we welcome you to the show.
Thank you. And I'm in Virginia, but the Liberty and Prosperity still meets every Saturday morning, 9:30 to 10:30 at Sal's Cafe at New Road and Groveland Avenue and Summers Point, whether I'm there or not. And many people prefer when I'm away because then they could get a word in edgewise and they don't have to, just listen to me. But we posted a lot of stuff on George Norcross and how he got that way. And unfortunately, this is just the beginning of the corruption, and there's a whole angle that we didn't even scratch the surface on. But to answer your question about George Norcross, in many ways, he's similar to George Soros in seeing an opportunity in low-level politics. Because we all pay attention to Trump and Biden and who's running for Senate and who's running for Congress, but hardly ever anyone pays attention to who's on the township committee of Hamilton Township, who's running for this minor office or that minor office. And, of course, George Soros got his power by focusing on elections no one paid attention to, like prosecutors, like auditor generals, all these little-known offices. And that's basically how George Norcross got his start. He had a small insurance agency, and he took an interest in local political races throughout South Jersey. And I ran into it personally back in the 1990s, 30 years ago when I bought a small office building in Summers Point, and I had a gravel driveway. And I wanted to pave the driveway, but of course you can't pave the driveway unless you get a city permit. And to get the permit, you have to meet these requirements, and it has to be approved by the city engineer. And normally it would not be a big deal because the city engineer lived in town, and he'd just look at the driveway, look at your plans. It wouldn't really cost you anything, and you get your approval and you pave the driveway. However, George Norcross supported a bunch of Democrats who took control of Summers Point city government in the 1990s. So when I went to apply to get the permit for the driveway, and it had to be approved by the engineer, Summers Point picked an engineer in Camden County because that was associated with Norcross. So to get my place inspected, I had to pay for this engineer in Camden County to drive down from Camden County, come to Summers Point, drive back. That cost me $100, a couple $100. And he also had to drive down from Camden County to look at the plans and show up at the planning meeting. So basically, as the applicant for a permit, I had to spend more money on George Norcross's engineer than I did for the guy who paved my driveway. So that's how it drives up the cost. So Norcross just didn't do that in Summers Point. He did that in dozens of townships. And he would pick who the city attorney would be, who the city engineer would be. But the real money was in these insurance contracts. That would be millions of dollars of contracts. And for just small towns, small townships, school districts, high school districts, county government, everybody who Norcross would give political money to get elected would pay back Norcross by hiring his engineering firm, hiring his insurance firm, and so on. And all that was put on tape. There's one guy in Palmyra, a councilman, actually taped Norcross bragging about what he did. And it looked like there were going to be indictments back in 2002. But the Democrats never did anything. The Republicans, Chris Christie, didn't do anything, when he was the U.S. attorney. And when he became governor, he became, Norcross's biggest fan and ally and used his help to try to become president in 2016. So that's where Norcross got half of his power. The other half of his power came from the redevelopment racket. When you think of redevelopment, you say, oh, gee, you have a rundown neighborhood and someone's going to build all this fancy stuff here. But redevelopment is a legal term that gives the government the power to pick a certain area, a certain property in a town, and completely ignore the zoning law, rewrite the zoning law the way you want it, rewrite the tax law the way you want it, and allow people not to have to pay taxes for 10 or 20 years on that real estate. Also, if there's a property owner in the area who doesn't want to sell, you have the right to take that person's property by eminent domain. And you have the right to pick the contractors who do all the development. And you can see the opportunities of all the money to be made there. And that's exactly what the Norcross did in Camden and several developments, including taking over. Remember, they had the old flea market in Pennsauken that
Yes.
Norcross took
Yes.
over. So that's how the Norcross empire got started. But then you raise another question. Well, if all this stuff has been going on and has become normal in New Jersey, and by the way, Norcross was like the pioneer. I can't think of almost of any town really where you don't have that same stuff going on with Republicans, with Democrats. That pay-to-play corruption and that redevelopment corruption is really embedded in New Jersey politics. But here's where it gets interesting. Norcross's boyhood friend was Steve Sweeney. And basically, George Norcross arranged for Steve Sweeney to knock out one of the most popular politicians in Gloucester County, a guy called Ray Zane, and made Steve Sweeney a state senator back about 20 years ago. And then Norcross built a bunch of alliances to make Steve Sweeney the most powerful, the second most powerful politician in New Jersey, the Senate president. And here's where it gets interesting. In 2016, as you know, the Highway or Transportation Trust Fund went broke with all these junk bonds. And the state passed a constitutional amendment to guarantee payment of those bonds. And as a result of that, we have automatic toll hikes and gas tax hikes to bail out those junk bonds every year. It's a constitutional amendment. Normally, our Constitution says unless the people vote for something, we don't have to bail out insolvent, investments or long-term debt. In 2016, the teachers union realized that the New Jersey pension fund is hopelessly insolvent. And that's another whole story, is how it got that way. But basically, New Jersey is one of the only pension funds in America where there's no connection between how much you put into your pension and how much you get paid out. And I figured that out, like when I was on city council, we used to have lifeguards would work 3 months of the year, and then they get pensions based on, what they contributed for the 3 months that they worked. And then they started gaming the system. The city would start, I was on city council, I'm wondering why we have lifeguards on payroll in December. And it turned out they would hire the lifeguards to paint lifeguard boats, year-round, a few years before they retired. Why did they do that? Because the pensions in New Jersey are based on how much you're making during the last years that you're working, not how much you contributed to the fund while you were working. So it's normal in New Jersey for people to work most of their careers making maybe $30,000, $40,000 a year. But if you have political connections, or if you're in the teachers union, during the years just before you retire, you'll get like 300% pay hikes. And instead of making $30,000, you retire making $90,000. And so you get a pension that's based on the $90,000. And many people, teachers and people with political connections make more money retired than they did most of the time they were working. Well, you can't do that and sustain a pension system. And then when you had Republican governors like Christy Todd Whitman, instead of dealing with the problem, she actually borrowed money to speculate in the stock market to fund the pensions. And then the stock market crashed in 2001. And then Chris Christie, another Republican, got the idea, instead of investing in safe investments, he'd stick the pension fund into to hedge funds. And some of those hedge funds and investments included the Revel Casino, which gave 5 cents on a dollar to all the investors. You remember they spent $2 billion to build that casino.
Yes, they did.
And then it got sold to Glenn Straub, it's a polo club in Florida for I think $200 million.
Yes.
So the investors took a bath, and a lot of New Jersey pension funds were in there. So the teachers union have figured out that their pensions that they're going to get paid 20 cents on a dollar unless somebody bails out the pension system. So in 2016, they demanded the same constitutional amendment to bail out the bankrupt or insolvent pension funds that we use to bail out the insolvent transportation trust fund with the gas tax. And they proposed a constitutional amendment that would mandate automatic, a new statewide property tax on top of the tax for schools, local government, and county government. Now you'd have a fourth property tax called a state pension bailout property tax that would automatically add to your property taxes whenever there wasn't enough money to pay for the pension fund. So anyway, to his credit, Steve Sweeney refused to introduce that constitutional amendment. And because of that, the NJEA Teachers Union took a vendetta against Steve Sweeney and spent like $5 million to try to defeat him back in 2017. And they were unsuccessful. Sweeney raised, with the help of Norcross, raised $12 million, and he got reelected. Then 4 years later, when Sweeney was up for election in 2021, you had Ed the Trucker knock them out in this stealth campaign, and Sweeney was out, and that was a setback for Norcross. And it looked like the teachers union is now trying to get that constitutional amendment to bail out the pension funds. And what happened? Well, Sweeney's and Norcross's close friend, a guy called John Berticelli, won back Sweeney's seat. And now Sweeney in December announced he was going to run for governor. And the teachers union and Murphy, and they all have this vendetta against Sweeney, don't want him to have a comeback. And what a coincidence. Just a few months later, George Norcross, who is the power broker behind Sweeney, gets indicted for stuff that happened 10 years ago. So I think the plot is even thicker than you painted it. And by the way, all this is posted at libertyandprosperity.com website, and I invite people to read the details because I just really scratched the surface here. What
a story. Boy, you really outlined that. That is really unbelievable and disturbing, I think. Really. It's just unbelievable how a guy who never was elected to any office wields this much power. It's just incredible.
Right. And not by going for governor at the beginning, not by going for Congress or Senate, but going by the township committee of this township, of Summers Point, of this school district, of a county freeholder or commissioner there. And little by little, you get a $2 million contract here and a $2 million contract there. Pretty soon you're talking serious money.
Yes.
So that's how he did it. Meanwhile, other stuff going on. I was talking last week about the Juneteenth national holiday, which is really not a national holiday. And there was an interesting headline in the press last Sunday. It said, Ocean City Juneteenth organizer disappointed in support. So basically, the Juneteenth supposed to be June 19th to celebrate when slavery ended in Texas, was made a national holiday. And a national holiday should be a holiday that everybody in the nation could identify with. But you'll notice that the new national holidays like Pride Month are not designed to unify the country. They're designed to put, one part of the country against the other side. And so you had a front page article saying how this organizer was disappointed in support. And as I mentioned last week, the history of the Juneteenth holiday is, well, you had slavery in America, and Lincoln had the Emancipation Proclamation to end slavery in 1863, but it took 2 years for slaves in Texas to be freed, and that was a horrible delay. And we celebrate finally the slaves being freed. The history that's not taught, and if Juneteenth were to be a true national holiday, it would tell the real history, which is that slavery existed in every culture and society in the world until Christians ended it in Europe during the Middle Ages. And then America in 1776, we had our Declaration of Independence that declared that all men are created equal and endowed with certain unalienable rights. And that was the beginning of the end of slavery in America. And then in 1777, slavery was banned in Pennsylvania. 1787, slavery is ended in the federal territories in the northern states. In 1808, we stopped bringing new slaves into America. And Robert Stockton, the grandson of the Richard Stockton that Stockton College is named after, starts capturing slave ships on the high seas and freeing the slaves and bringing them home to Africa. In 1830, you had the Underground Railroad. In 1846, we end slavery in California. 1850, there's open war in Kansas to end slavery. So you have this whole struggle of 87 years, 87 years from the time of our Declaration of Independence to bring slavery to an end. And in that struggle, most of the people fighting to end slavery are whites. And in the Civil War to end slavery, 310,000 of the soldiers who die are white and 40,000 are black. So that's what the history should be about. But it's not. And what also is going on is all these Juneteenth holidays, they're paid for by these government grants, taxpayer money, to just promote a handful of these so-called nonprofit corporations where the people who run them, make a nice salary. And in Ocean City in particular, they had a picture of the people who showed up for the Juneteenth festival paid for by taxpayers, and you see that the only people there are people getting paid or their relatives. 12 people show up. So funding these nonprofit corporations to do these to promote these fake narratives are not only dividing America, but when it comes election time, guess who promotes all the politics to get out the vote, for the so-called right people. And by the way, that was the headline today in today's Press of Atlantic City. They changed the law so that it's illegal to pay people to deliver mail-in ballots or messenger ballots, and that was designed to go against Craig Calloway. But there's an exception to who could still get paid to deliver and get mail-in ballots, and that's nonprofit corporations, just like the ones that are run by George Soros, and just like the ones that are bringing all the illegal immigrants into America. So it'll be illegal for private people like Craig Calloway to pay people to get absentee ballots, but nonprofit organizations to get all the mail-in ballots they want. That's today's headline. Anyway, I'm not there. I'm in Virginia, but anyone is welcome to go to our libertyandprosperity.com website or come to our breakfast 9:30 to 10:30 at Sal's Cafe in Summers Point. libertyandprosperity.com, and that's the beep telling me my time is up.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Seth. Seth Grossman, libertyandprosperity.com is the website, and of course, the meeting starts right now. If you are so inclined to attend, Sal's Coal Fire Pizza on Groveland Avenue in Summers Point. I'm John DeMasi. It is Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. A slew of calls, John, Bob, Greg, and Craig, in that order, and we'll start with the calls right after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs to free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlantic Care, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Holdren, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Let's get started with John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Yes, good morning. Yes, the good Dr. Anthony Trust of Science Fauci, did he know all along that the virus was hatched in a lab and not from a wet market? He sure did. Did he know there's harmful stuff in that vaccine? Graphene oxide is a harmful metal that is in the vaccine. It can cause renal failure and congestive heart failure. It's put in there to speed the vaccine through your body, but it can kill you. I like to bring up the Latin phrase primum non nocere, also called nocere. It's the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. The goal of all physicians is to restore their patients back to a state of health and well-being, if at all possible. That being, rid them of their disease or disease. The duty, however, of all physicians is to first do no harm. If said patient's health is deteriorated, despite every effort of the doctor, from thence said physician must proceed with caution. The oath must or has to be remembered. The father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, as well as his contemporaries, did practice bloodletting. And although the use of poisonous drugs was to be avoided, he and his contemporaries did prescribe mandragora, commonly known as mandrake. They also used Atropa belladonna. Both plants contain, if taken in large enough amounts, the deadly poison scopolamine. He was, as well as his contemporaries, also prescribed calomel, which contains a large amount of mercury chloride. Mercury chloride, when taken in large enough doses, is a deadly poison and is listed as such when used pharmaceutically. Included in his title of being a father of medicine is his contribution to prognosis, finding the root of a disease by charting its course. Also, he's a father of clinical observation, determining a diagnosis and treatment plan, which entails keeping diaries of a patient's progress. Whether potentially dangerous medicines were administered orally, that which goes into the body, or blood was extracted, that which comes out of the body, of the physician does think he has to perceive a cause of per Hippocratic Oath, it was to be done with both caution and or sparingly. He hailed from the brilliancy of ancient Greece. He wasn't the Freddie Flintstone of modern medicine. In the case of then retired from office, President George Washington, it's already been confirmed that the overdoses of calomel administered to him by physicians James Craig, Gustavus Brown, and Elisha Cullen, it did indeed and in fact hasten his demise. That and the removal of 42% of his blood is what both together killed him. Per the stated duty of physicians to first do no harm, according to Hippocrates himself, those three men were in violation of the said Hippocratic Oath. Surrounding the mystery of our president's death, yes, now retired from office at the time, I've been told a misnomer about that illness that befell him. That being, he suffered from the lower respiratory disorder of pneumonia, when actually he suffered from the less serious upper respiratory disorder of inflammatory quinsy, known today as severe strep throat. Just 1 year before he died, in 1798, John Quincy Adams, who was most responsible for establishing the Freemasonic lodges in New England, that of the York Rite, warned George Washington that the Illuminati had infiltrated said New England lodges. George Washington was a member of the Alexandria Lodge, which was the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. He warned Mr. Washington that the same Illuminati was also infiltrating the Scottish Rite lodges of the South. Mr. Washington inquired of what this supposed Illuminati was. Mr. Adams plainly told him that they were Lucifer worshippers. After having looked into the matter himself, Mr. Washington, President Washington, now retired from office, replied, "Yes, I am satisfied that being convinced that the Parisian Jacobins, the Jacobin Club of Paris, the Illuminati secret society most responsible for fomenting the 1789 French Revolution, were now on America's shores." He also said to Mr. Adams that if the Illuminati were not put in check, that they would ultimately uproot the very foundations of our republic, thereby toppling it. So whether physicians James Craig, Gustavus Brown, and Elisha Cullen meant to kill President Washington or not, they definitely violated their Hippocratic Oath to first do no harm. And by the by, those said physicians were all Scottish Rite Freemasons and of high degree. No, I'm not trying to make it a Freemasonic conspiracy or a Jewish conspiracy. No, it's an internationalist conspiracy against regular people. This trust, if they're lying to us about the COVID-19, then they were lying to us back then too. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Boy, a long way to go to tell us they were lying to us. like we didn't know that already. Bob and Cape May. Bob, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Wait, I couldn't take all the notes.
Yeah.
Can you repeat all that?
I mean, well, you'll have to listen to the replay tomorrow.
Hey, all right. Look, George Norcross. Okay, Inquirer did an expose on him at least 10 years ago. Could have been longer about the corruption and the sweetheart deals on the Camden waterfront. So, Seth is golden. I'll tell you, he just brings this out. It's amazing the corruption that we're dealing with in New Jersey here. And there was a corrupt black politician from Camden County. I forget what his name was, but he had 3 government jobs. His immediate family all had government jobs. And, it just goes on and on, John. And Seth told me this years ago when I met him. He said, you wouldn't believe, the people that run for office that are involved in politics in New Jersey, it's all about enriching themselves, their friends, and their immediate family members. That's what the hell it's all about. And that's why we have such a horrendous situation in New Jersey. Highest taxes in the country, worst balance sheet in the country. And, it just goes on and on. You've got corrupt people running this show here. And what Seth pointed out, we all really need to listen to what Seth said. It's not just the big names like Norcross, but it's the whole system here. You have people working in government jobs here. And I've seen in the city of Cape May, the last 3 years that they're employed before they retire, and they retire early, okay? In New Jersey, you can retire at 50. You get 25 years in, you retire. You get moved to a low-tax state like Florida. Your pension money gets shipped down there, and you get another government job down there if you want. But probably you don't have to because your pension's so high. But it's the last 3 years. If you have political connections, you get a big promotion the last 3 years, even though you don't deserve it. And that's what your pension is based on. Okay? That's ridiculous. Yeah. And, we're one of the few states that does that. The pension system down in Florida, John, one reason that Florida has a huge surplus is because the pension system is based on, and it's been this way for decades and decades, it's based on what you decide to put in your pension. Yeah. You decide what you get taken out of your pay, and yes, that's so it's a defined benefit. Okay? And it's a solvent system. This system we have here is not solvent, and the problem is and this was mentioned by Seth again when he ran against Chris Christie, for governor. Christie, was talking real tough. We all loved Christie when he talked about the pensions and the public employees and the day of judgment, the day of reckoning is coming. Well, Christie gave away our big bargaining chip, which was to declare bankruptcy as a state, which we probably should do. Even if we declare bankruptcy, we are on the hook for these enormous pensions. They are bankruptcy proof because of what Chris Christie did. So the nuclear button that we had over these unions, it is gone. Chris Christie gave it away. Yeah. So another thing that he did that was harmful to New Jersey. Oh, it's terrible. And anytime you fill up your car with gas, thank Chris Christie for the high gas prices. Oh man, I tell you, it's incredible. I mean, it really is incredible, the whole thing. But and this guy has a nerve to run for president. Like he did such a great job. He has a 5% approval rating in his state, and the nation's going to embrace this guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to get on the air, and he's going to tell all Republicans, you cannot vote for Donald Trump. You need to vote for Joe Biden because Biden is so wonderful.
Yeah. We'll listen to him, right? The track record is great. Bob, thanks for the call. Maybe you call back if you like. We have Greg and we have Craig, and maybe we'll have you at 609-407-1450. It's Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We will come back with your calls and more of the show in just a moment. But first, did you know, I bet you did not know, that BF Mazzeo delivers? Oh, yeah, they do. All you got to do is go online, or you call up, or whatever you do, or you can stop in and say, hey, look, later on, deliver this to my house. They do it. BF Mazzeo delivers. And, of course, what do they have there? They got everything. I bought last week, and I never did this before. I bought yellow watermelon. And I want to tell you, that has to be the sweetest and most juiciest watermelon I ever tasted. And it's just the way it is at BF Mazzeo. It's the finest fresh fruit and produce you will find anywhere. And, you know, I did the taste test comparison. This is my own thing. So I took a couple of peaches, and I bought them at the local supermarket. And then I take the peaches that I buy at BF Mazzeo. I mean, it's like night and day. That doesn't begin to describe it. BF Mazzeo, they're juicy, they're fresh. It's that way with all of the fruit and produce. As I said, the finest fresh fruit and produce you will find anywhere. And coming up, you got the 4th of July, you have company coming, and you got a barbecue, and it's a lot to do. So BF Mazzeo will take some of that away from you by, you order catering. I mean, you want 10 pounds of potato salad, they'll do it. Coleslaw, macaroni salad, corn on the cob, you got it. That's what they'll do. They'll customize your order, and then you don't have to worry about that. BF Mazzeo, 601 New Road, Northfield, online at bfmazzeo.com, bfmazzeo.com. Again, the finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere. That's BF Mazzeo. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusOfAtlanticCity.com. Or, if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusOfAtlanticCity.com.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Truist Bank, ServPro Team Fabiani, Jersey Shore Federal Credit Union, Kramer Beverage, McCree Brothers Blueberry Farm, Menino's Cannoli Express, and Master Wire Manufacturing. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. We have a heat advisory in effect from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Sunday. For today, partly sunny and very hot. A cooling sea breeze will develop in the afternoon with a high of 100. For tonight, mainly clear skies, warm and humid, low 75. For tomorrow, breezy and very hot with times of clouds and sun. Extreme heat can be dangerous for outdoor activities, high 99. I'm AccuWeather's Caitlin Lawrence on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Did she say 100? Wow, 100. Oh, boy, I better stay in air conditioning. Talk with a Purpose is the show, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Greg in Absecon. And Greg, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Mr. DeMasi, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Earlier, you asked who was running the elections or the power in the state of New Jersey.
Yes.
Called money.
Yeah.
When the Zuckerman can drop $400 million in the middle of an election and change the outcome, that is called corruption.
Yeah.
Not going to change. As far as, and I hate to get into it early, President Trump. Right now, I compare what's happening every time these people open their mouth. It sounds more and more like what went on during the Nixon-Kennedy debate.
Yeah.
It was planned. It was all choreographed. Nixon looked like he was going to, the electric chair.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah. And Kennedy looked like he was going into a movie.
Yeah, that's true.
They're playing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hopefully the outcome is just the opposite now.
Yeah.
But they're going to pull the same thing.
Yeah.
And if the Trump doesn't have a staff with him to check everything that, as far as his setup where he is, the lighting, the sound, everything has got to be checked because these people will do anything to.
Oh yeah,
have him come off looking like a fool.
Yeah, you remember that you were talking about Nixon. Remember that he looked like he needed a shave.
Yeah, he's about 4 days.
Yeah, it was really weird the way he looked. And you're right.
Lighting, too.
Yeah,
It was black and white TV.
I remember.
And Nixon's complexion was white and black hair, black beard, and that's exactly what you saw.
Yeah.
It was a change.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. Kennedy looked like a movie star.
Exactly. Well, he was prepped like one.
Yeah, that's right.
New York is going to be given to Trump. The rank and file will elect him because of what they did to him during this trial. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, well,
because the rank and file is not the leadership.
That's right. Well,
they're honest people for the most part, and they will give him the state.
Yeah, he'll carry the state. I don't think he'll get the city, but that doesn't matter. Yeah, that's right.
Well, it's just another state he would like to have.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Greg, thanks for the call. Craig in Northfield. Craig, good morning. Welcome.
Well, good morning. How are you, John?
I'm just peachy keen.
Well, peachy keen over there at Mazio's, too.
Yeah, that's right.
They got peaches. Anyway, remember I told you about them Chinese nationals that were coming over?
Yeah.
And I said, then we had one, try to infiltrate our bases.
Yes.
And I said how China was buying land by our bases.
Yes.
Okay, so how many bases do you think China now owns land by?
I would say 10.
Keep going.
20.
Keep going.
30.
Keep going.
40.
44.
Wow.
44.
Whoa.
So I told you 3 weeks ago that, the Chinese nationals, these young youths, were, trying to infiltrate our bases one time so far, right?
Yes.
We had an uptick. How many times do you think?
You tell me.
No, I'm going to make you guess.
Oh,
Wait, be quick here. You're taking up my time.
Come on. You're taking up my time.
19
Okay.
times.
Okay.
19 times these nationals have come in to infiltrate our bases, which means also that they could have killed some of our soldiers in this country. Thank you, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So, and last week I told you that, automatically our youth, anybody 26 and younger, you have been now signed up for the draft. And you parents that think your daughters aren't going, you're mistaken. Your daughters are going too. And so, people say, well, there's not going to be a war. Really? Is that why Joe Biden is sending Patriot missiles instead of over there to, Hungary? They're sending that Patriot missile over to Ukraine. Not that guy's got a level head over there. What do you think about that, John?
I don't think much of it.
So let's talk about what happened this week, though. Russia's, cozied up right up there to North Korea. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Did they sign an alliance?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Okay. Did Russia pull submarines and other ships over there to Cuba? The Cuban Missile Crisis. Am I wrong?
No, you're not.
Okay, and then we got Ukraine. What's going on?
War.
Okay, and then we got Israel. What's going on?
War.
Okay, and then North Korea, with everything going on. South Korea and the United States just, are having a little bit of a war exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing's heating up, and also Japan is ready. All right, so I want to put my tinfoil hat quick on, okay? Everybody knows Candace Owens, right?
Yes.
Would you say she's pretty legit?
Yeah.
Okay. If I hear the word I think I'm going to hear, okay, well, this is what they're saying. The First Lady may not be a lady.
You're kidding.
I'm expecting to hear, oh, jeez. I was close, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here it goes. There's been a 3-year investigation on this woman. They can't find any pictures of her when she was young. Okay, they can't find any pictures of when she was pregnant. However, she did have a brother who nobody could find, who's now for 38 years. So, and also several times Mrs. Macron has been asked her age, and she's got it all wrong all the time. So this is the thing, though. The people that were doing the investigation on her, guess what? The Secret Service came to their house.
Jeez.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, there's a reason for that. Now, Candace Owen is no lightweight. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I would.
Yeah, she came out and said it. You can YouTube it. It's on there. Now, I do want to go to my a little bit of election there, because we got dinner planned in Atlantic City. It's going to be Italian. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
The Massey, my last name ends with a vowel. We got to have that.
That's right.
And we did. We got dessert going here for the take home, right?
That's right. That's
okay,
right.
The wife's getting the take home dessert.
That's right.
All right.
You got it.
All right. So to make you bring the beverage, okay? If I get your mouth to drop just a little bit, okay, will you bring the beverage, the bottle of the wine?
I will do that.
Okay. The Democratic Party, okay, may have, running for vice president and president with the switcherooski, Michelle and Hillary.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, I hope you're wrong on that one.
Man, I get in the wine or what? You better bring 2 bottles.
Whoa.
What you just said.
Whoa.
Whoa, right?
Are you kidding me?
Well, hold on now. Let's just and let me just say this, because I know Bob's listening. Bob, I totally agree with you last week about Ohio. Totally agree with you with Vance.
Yes.
Smart play. Yeah. I do. But what a play this would be, because, man, you're going to get the black vote, and then you're going to get the Kukaluki vote with Hillary.
Yeah,
you saw her twitching her head that one time.
Yeah.
I mean, she could probably bring it home, and anybody that doesn't vote for her, you may end up dead. I'll leave you with that, John.
Okay.
Hey, great show. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. So he drops a bomb on us before the top of the hour. That's the way to do it, huh? Michelle and Hillary. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? There couldn't be a worse ticket if you tried. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. 609-407-1450. We'll put all the calls on hold, and then we'll start fresh in hour number 2. 609-407-1450. What are we going to talk about in hour number 2? Well, we'll continue to talk about George Norcross. But the other thing is, we want to commend the town of Margate for having a pair of you-know-whats and coming up with enforcing an ordinance that was already on the books. And now they're going to enforce it. And, boy, I tell you, I commend them. I commend them, really, all sides commending them for what they're doing. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Donald Trump in Philadelphia. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. And a few other things. What's going on in Louisiana besides New Orleans? That's on the agenda. And a lot more. And your calls, of course, at 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. It is Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Also heard on 1450 AM and also heard on WPGTalkRadio.com. Many ways for you to listen. And again, we have some open lines. We'll start fresh in the 10 o'clock hour. 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450 is our number. Hour number 1, boy, I tell you, time flies when you're having fun. Hour number 1 is in the books, and hour number 2 is on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 2, Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you with us. We got a couple hours left of this barn burner today, and it is a barn burner. Jeez. They're calling for 100 for the high? Oh, my goodness. 609-407-1450 is our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. We will get to Tony in just a moment, but first we want to start off this hour. Well, you can call in about George Norcross. I mean, that's just an unbelievable story. But last week, we were talking about rowdy teenagers in certain shore towns, and you read the stuff in Memorial Day weekend and so on. And the concern is more so for tourists coming down here and them saying, well, I don't know if we were going to go because there's a bunch of rowdy teenagers. Oh, okay. Well, we don't want anything to deter tourism because that's our lifeblood, okay? So we're talking about that and what the towns are going to do individually to stop this or to prevent this from happening. And, many of them hiring more police, having more police on hand, and so on and so forth. And then I guess they must have listened to us. What one town did, lo and behold, here comes Margate to the rescue. Parents, you will be ticketed if your teen gets in trouble. Can you imagine parents in Margate having to go? Oh, this is good. Police in Margate say they will begin enforcing an existing ordinance that allows them to issue summonses to the parents of juveniles observed unsupervised after the 10 p.m. curfew or otherwise breaking local laws. The tickets will require appearing in municipal court and could result in fines up to $1,000 and up to 90 days of community service, which may have to be performed alongside the child. How about that? Can you imagine? My son is in pre-law, and you expect him to go, what? I don't care if he's in pre-med, pre-law, pre-anything. $1,000, but the best one is they got to do the community service. Hey, I want to see this. Mr. and Mrs. Parent of a kid in Margate who's 17. He's a lawyer and she's a judge, and they're going to be picking up trash on the beach in Margate. Oh, that'll deter. Yeah, you're right. It sure will. I commend Margate for that. Really do. Tony and AC. Tony, good morning. You're on Talk with a Purpose.
Oh, well, kids will be kids, and I guess everybody's these days has to be accountable for their...
That's right. That's right.
They got to step on, hang them high. Hang them high and hang them long.
That's right.
Should be hung by his toes over a pool of sharks. Anyway, before your show came on and set brilliant, what a mind. Unbelievable. Just blows me away. And your other callers. Before that, I was listening to Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins, who
yes.
play from yesterday.
Yes.
And they played a clip, and this concerns your industry, the news industry, right? Reporting
yes.
on public events. He played a clip of Joe Scarborough berating an umpteenth degree the Hunter Biden laptop, phony story, including Giuliani spreading these lies, and he went on and on. Your people are fools if you believe this.
Yeah.
It's Russian disinformation.
I heard that. I heard it too. I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. And my point of calling and talking about it, because you guys are in law, nothing happened to punish Joe Scarborough for putting out over the air to the public absolute lies.
That's right. That's
absolute
right.
Phony information.
That's right. He should have been fired. He should have been fired for that.
Well, fired is sued by somebody and sued.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, do you guys get together like, the radio hosts get together? There's a top 100 radios. They get together and have a dinner, and like the movie stars have their what do you call it when they get together? They issue the awards for the movies. Is there any like? You aren't union, or are you union? Maybe the producers, the electricians are union. But do you guys get together and have dinners and say, how can we protect the public and punish these people who, before they give out information and misinformation, don't fact check, and right from the get-go are spreading lies?
There are organizations that we belong to, but it's not like that they have dinners like the Hollywood people and so on. So it's not a regular thing. But like the NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, that's an organization we belong to, and usually they'll deal with stuff like that. And are they dealing with it now? I don't know, and I don't really think they are. But that's something that they should be, because that was a blatant, bold, absolute lie. It was a lie.
Could it get any worse than that?
No, I mean,
anything that could be worse than that is to tell everybody that there are missiles in the air coming from Russia and supersonic atom bombs being dropped, right? Like the War of the Worlds in the early 40s. But who was it? That famous actor?
I can't think of his name now.
Yeah, he got large. Right. He was one of the most famous.
Orson Welles. Orson Welles,
right. Imagine trying to do that today.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, they did crack down on that. You can't if you are doing something like that, you have to put a disclaimer out. You heard us all do disclaimers. Like my show there's a disclaimer. So yeah, it should be more of a concerted effort. And Tony, thanks for the call. It should be a concerted effort, and sometimes I wonder, what's the NAB doing? We do wonder that. Frank is in Ventnor. Frank, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
So, John, I warned you I was going to call and get away from the politics.
Yes.
And give you a DJ quiz today, you and Chris.
Yeah, well, listen, you couldn't have two of the better former DJ. Well, Chris is not a former DJ. He is one. But I am a former DJ. So you can bring it on, Frank, and we'll gladly take your quiz.
All right, this should be easy. Here's what I'm going to do, John. These are all big hit songs.
Okay.
Right? I call them summer songs. And
okay.
To celebrate summer. I've been riding a lot in my car, and all of these songs I've heard in the past week. All right, so John, I'm going to give you a little snippet of lyric. You tell me what the song is.
Okay.
All right, and then if you don't get it on the first one, which I'm sure you will, then I'll give another little snippet. Okay. Here's the first song, John. Here we go. Here's the lyric. I got your number on the wall. I got it. For a good time, call.
Oh boy, you know it, Chris? I do not. No, I don't know it either.
All right, here's another line. I'll give another one. Jenny, who can I turn to?
Oh,
give me something I can hold on to.
Jenny takes a ride.
Say again, John.
Jenny takes a ride.
No. Here's the name of the song is the phone number, the most famous phone number in rock and roll history.
634-5789.
Exactly, 867-5309.
867-5309. Okay.
All right, here's another one.
All right.
Here's another one. Okay. You know, I feel so dirty when they start talking cute. I want to tell her that I love her, but the point is probably moot.
Boy, Frank, you're picking hard ones.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. I thought these would be... once you hear it, though, you know you've heard it 1,000 times.
Oh, yeah, of course. Give me another hint.
Another hint. 'Cause she's watching him with those eyes, and she's loving him with that body. I just know it.
Oh, now I know the song, but I can't... Oh, gee, it's on the tip of my tongue.
Should I give it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesse's Girl.
Oh, yeah.
Rick Springfield.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh. Who, by the way, was a former soap opera star.
Oh, yes, that's right. Okay, here's another one, John.
All right, one more.
All right. Hugging and kissing, dancing and loving, wearing next to nothing because it's hot as an oven.
He's picked all. I mean, he really has. He took the hard route to get to this. You don't know, do you, Chris? No,
I'll give it. Here's the second hint. This should give it. I got me a car. It seats about 20. So come on and bring your jukebox money.
B-52s. Oh, the B-52s?
Yeah, exactly. Love Shack.
Love Shack. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Well, Frank, I guess I better never go on Jeopardy, huh?
All right, John. Good.
Thanks for the call, John in Ocean City. John, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Cool. Very good. Yes. To my credit, I always knew that COVID-19 came out of a Wuhan lab of virology and not off of a wet market like other people did, okay, to my credit. And I'm glad that Bob enjoyed hearing my obscure history lesson. Good on you, Bob. God bless you. I just recently watched a prison documentary whose main focus was on a never-to-be-paroled convict named Tyler Davis Bingham, otherwise known as TD. Sentenced to the California Youth Authority as a troubled kid due to the corruption and hardcore violence of the CYA, he didn't come out reformed, but was by then a hardened criminal. The only ex-con interviewed in that documentary is a man named Michael Thompson. He said that TD was the most violent individual whom he had ever met. The both of them did time in Folsom and San Quentin. Both of them ended up in a maximum security facility in Colorado where the most violent offenders are housed. The fact that they're both still alive in their 70s says something. T.D. Bingham ran the show as leader of the Aryan Brotherhood at Folsom. Now, this is from the Michael Francis podcast, a different show, interview with Michael Thompson. Thompson had said that 4 Native American Indians had approached him and said, we all know that you're a res dog. A res dog is somebody that's lived half of his life on an Indian reservation and half of his life in the non-Indian world. But you don't want to go it alone here. So he was invited into the Aryan Brotherhood. What are Native Americans doing in the AB? Because in the 1970s, when he was in the Aryan Brotherhood, the AB, it was not a white supremacist hate group at that time. In fact, the leader of that faction, T.D. Bingham, is in fact Jewish. He has a huge Star of David tattooed on his chest. He's a tough mother. You don't want to get him started, that dude. But anyway, Mr. Thompson said that he now despises the AB, which has now morphed into a full-fledged hate white supremacist group. By the by, I just want to say, my notes are messed up. Anyway, he had said that I'm going by notes. I come with my own stuff, man. I don't imitate anybody or I don't parrot anybody. I put my own notes down, but sometimes I get confused. Anyway, he said, Michael Thompson had said the corruption in the institution, the prison institution, is so bad it reeks with corruption from the prison guards all the way up to the wardens, oftentimes even worse than the inmates themselves. All right, I really believe that there is a 1984-style beast system, if you will, in place that wants to make the whole of America into a ginormous penitentiary. I really believe that. They're using class warfare along racial lines. It's a big part of their modus operandi. We must all learn how to work our differences out, and regardless of what our religion is or what our skin color is or what our religion is, because we all have the same mama America to lose. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. He does take notes, and he comes prepared, I tell you. He is something. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. Our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. We have Rich, we have Greg, and we have Dan, and maybe we'll have you coming up after the break, 609-407-1450. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose in just a moment, but first, more good stuff to talk about. You know, Lexus. That's right. Courtesy of Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Drive by there, you see all the beautiful new and pre-owned vehicles that Lexus has, and you say, gee, I don't know if I could ever drive one. Well, come on. All you got to do is stop in. They'll make it happen for you, and there won't be a lot of pressure. One of the things I like about Lexus of Atlantic City, you know, and I did this the last time. I went in and said, we talked about a possible change of cars, and it just wasn't in the numbers for me. So I said, hey, I'll buy my car. So I did. And there was no pressure, no hype, no, let's have the TO guy come in and he's going to try to talk you. No, none of that. None of that. No pressure, no hype, no hassle. It's just straight talk, and that's what you get. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. You want to look at the cars first? Go online, aclexus.com, aclexus.com, and you'll find there they are. You can check it out for yourself first online, and then you can go to the dealer, test drive one or two. Doesn't matter. They'll let you do whatever. aclexus.com is the website. aclexus.com is the website. It is Lexus of Atlantic City. Again, 3169 Fire Road, EHT. Stop in. Tell them you heard about it here on Talk with a Purpose, and they'll be happy that you did. We're coming back with more Talk with a Purpose after these words.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Protein Fabiani, Ocean First Bank, Stockton University Kramer Hall, Top Crop Blueberries, and Variety Farms. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
I'm Seth Grossman for LibertyAndProsperity.com. Older Americans like me read many books and stories by Mark Twain when we were in school. They included Life on the Mississippi, Tom Sawyer, and Huckleberry Finn. Mark Twain also wrote a book called The Innocents Abroad. It was a humorous account of a trip by him and a bunch of Americans to Europe, Egypt, and Palestine in 1867. In it, Mark Twain casually observed that Palestine then was, quote, a desolate country. He wrote, "We never saw a human being on the whole route, hardly a tree or shrub anywhere." That's because most Arabs didn't move to Palestine until years later. That was after Jews came back and drained the malaria swamps, watered the deserts, planted trees, and rebuilt roads and cities. Let's talk about this over breakfast. Meet us at Sal's Cafe at New Road and Groveland Avenue in Summers Point every Saturday morning, 9:30. Learn more at libertyandprosperity.com. Thanks.
If you would like to email me during the week, feel free to do so. Email address, JDADV, as in Victor, number 1, JDADV1 at Comcast.net. That is our email address, and you can email us anything you like. Program suggestions, pro or con, whatever. JDADV1 at Comcast.net. You can always like us on Facebook, at Talk With a Purpose. At Talk With a Purpose is our Facebook address. And this is our show, Talk With a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Let's talk to Rich in Haddon Township. Rich, good morning. Welcome to Talk With a Purpose.
Hi, John. How are you?
How you doing?
Good. A first-time caller, long-time listener.
Well, thank you for calling.
You're welcome. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things about George Norcross. You do know that Donald Norcross is his brother?
Yes.
Okay. And you also know that he is involved with one of the bakeries in Atlantic City that makes the Atlantic City rolls.
Yes.
Atlantic City bread.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, where he's really getting caught up, he redeveloped the Camden waterfront, and you get federal tax credits on that.
Yes.
He had sold the federal tax credits.
Yes, I heard that, yes.
So that's really where they're getting him, along with all this other stuff that's going on. He's been, I don't know if I should say, corrupt for many, many years.
Yeah, but how does a guy? I'm really confused about this. I heard of him, but I really never delved into what he does, because he doesn't hold any office. So I wouldn't bring him on the show, because he's who is he?
Exactly.
I don't understand how somebody who's never held an office gets so much power. I'm confused.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Now, getting back to Pensacola and Mart, when they redeveloped that, he wanted to put an arena there and bring in a minor league hockey team. Now, at the time, the Flyers minor league hockey team, the Phantoms, were playing at the Spectrum.
Yeah, that's right.
Being 10 miles within each other, you're not going to support two minor league hockey teams.
No, you're not.
You know?
No.
But John, I really enjoy your program. I look forward to it every week.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for the call. Greg and Absecon. Greg, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
This is Matthew. Good afternoon. I've been racking my brains trying to figure out why the Democrats are so complacent, as if the problem's been solved for them. And I think I came up with one idea anyway.
What's that?
Well, they had to come up with an individual or an entity, no moral compass and no ethics.
Yeah.
So they came up with, they approached them on one subject. We're losing the election. We want to win. What do we have to do to win? And give us 10 to 15 firms of what we can do. And they were talking to A1 or AI.
Yeah.
It's something I hope the Republicans are taking note of why they're so complacent. The leadership.
Yeah.
It's like they don't care.
Yeah.
It's like it's all put to bed already.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe we should be on the other side of the road going in the opposite direction to find out what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. Well, it's like I think they think, Democrats, that it's a rite of passage that you just vote Democrat. It's just the way it is. And
that's the way it was.
Yeah, the way it was is right. Is right.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. Well, but I hope that that's not the case. And again, thanks for the call, Greg. Dan in Linwood. Dan, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
It's a crazy week, but I got a couple of good points I think I want to lay on you.
Okay.
One is this business about the 10 Commandments. And the stations were all over it because Louisiana said they wanted to order all their schools. The governor signed a proclamation to display the 10 Commandments in the school.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, I don't know if you need to go that far, but what they said, what they were trying to do is codify Christianity. In all the stations, they had people arguing about it and talking about it, and everything was Christianity, Catholicism, and this went on. And I'm thinking to myself, when Moses came down from the mount with the tablets and he threw them and they broke apart and caught on fire and everything else, how many Christians were in that crowd that day?
A handful.
No, that was 1,500 years ago before Christ.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There were no Christians. So if you're talking about codifying Christianity, you got no case there.
Yeah.
But the other case, you'll have to fight it. But just don't use that as a political thing, saying, "Hey, you guys are trying to make all these schools Christian." Well,
yeah.
That's just not true.
That's right. That's right.
And this thing about Colangelo, the guy that the Justice Department, now he was number 3 at the Justice Department under Merrick Garland. And so you're the number 3 guy in the Department of Justice. And I think they have about 80,000 employees. And you're the number 3 man. You decide one day out of the clear blue sky to go to New York and become an assistant district attorney in New York City.
Yeah.
And yet, then when they asked Garland on their oath, they says, "What do you know about it?" And he says, "Well, I wasn't aware of this or that." Wait a minute. The number 3 guy, that's like the chairman of Apple. Then he has the CEO under him. Then let's say Colangelo's the chief financial officer, number 3.
Yeah.
He just decides to pack his bags, and go over to New York. But he doesn't leave a reason. This is what Garland says. What he did was probably went and applied, and they accepted him for a job.
Yeah.
That's a fantasy world. First of all, you have to disclose everything about that. Why is this man leaving this position? Who's going to replace him? It's got to be a big deal. You can't go in the cover of night and all of a sudden show up in New York and you're running a case against Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
That's just not reality. That's basically a guy saying, I'm the general manager of the New York Yankees, but I've decided to fly out to Oakland and become the first base coach of the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know exactly that Colangelo, either he was ordered there or he would have a great story to tell Attorney General Garland why he is going to New York. So that's all fantasy.
Yeah.
And when Biden said, this was in 2022, that he was going to do everything according to the Constitution or within the Constitution to stop Donald Trump from running for president or being president. And then all of a sudden on the 18th of that month, Smith and that Letitia James and either Wade or Fannie were in Washington, but they were all together, according to reports on believe on Newsmax. They just happened to be in Washington, and all of a sudden they're dispatched to their. One goes to Florida, one goes to Georgia, one goes to New York.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
In other words, they sent an army of legal eagles. And that's the way they described it.
Yes.
They put this together, and the strategy was to get Trump. So far, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
But it's coming to light now because you have Comer and Jordan and Matt Gaetz, and those people are just uncovering every lie. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. It's just and the final thing I'll say to you is the border agents, when this new bill came out with Biden that he's going to put all this money in. No, before I get there, $43.5 billion to install internet to all the rural areas of the United States. that was proposed 3 years ago. Okay, 2 years ago, $7.5 billion was to build electric charging stations. Okay, so we'll go to number one. Out of the $43 billion, how many houses have been given internet in the rural areas?
I have no idea.
That would be zero.
Jeez.
Out of the $7.5 billion under this program, how many electric charging stations have been installed?
I would say zero.
Yeah, and what's the chances of me voting for Biden?
Zero.
There you go. Yeah, John, it's a great show, and
thank you.
What we have to do is remember what happened, that Trump is being fully charged and pursued, and yet these folks that were going toe-to-toe with the police, they were locking down the campuses, they were threatening the Jewish students, they were threatening people on the subways. Identify yourself. If you're Jewish, this is your chance to get off the train. Really?
Yeah.
Is this 1937?
Yeah.
Well, what did Bragg do? Bragg took all those cases of all those people that were arrested at Columbia, NYU, and anywhere else, and he basically said, "I'm not charging anybody." This is the world we live in.
That's right. Dan, as always, thank you for the call. Good call. 609-407-1450. Got some open lines. 609-407-1450. What Dan was referring to, and I did want to talk about this today, and I had it on the agenda. The Louisiana has become the first state to require that the 10 Commandments be displayed in every public school classroom. This is the latest move from a Republican-dominated legislature pushing a conservative agenda under a new governor. Opponents questioned the law's constitutionality and vowed to challenge it in court. So we'll see. But proponents have said that the measure is not solely religious, but that has historical significance. It does? Well, I guess so. I don't know about historical, but I think, here's what I think. It's at least a start as to having some sort of prayer in schools. And I'm not saying, look, we got to read the Bible and all of that stuff. But is that a good thing? Is that a good requirement to have some sort of prayer in school? But in this case, did Louisiana go too far with the Ten Commandments? Because that's maybe a Christian thing. Don't know. But the question I have, and maybe you can answer this, should prayer of some kind be in public schools? Food for thought. What do you think about that? 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Did you hear on our 10 o'clock Fox News, President Trump is ahead of Joe Biden by 10 points? That's the first I heard of that. But, you know, a word of caution. And look, when a team has another team down by 10, you bury them. You pile it on. You finish them off. It's like a fighter who has the other fighter on the ropes. You finish him off. You go to the very end till the election is won. Don't think that you got it now. It's June, and there's a lot of time between now and November, and anything can happen. But it looks good now. 10-point lead for Donald Trump. That's good. But let's keep the momentum going. That's what my message would be. 609-407-1450. Also, you want to chime in on the the Margate ruling? I think really they have really got it down pat. If the juveniles are going to get arrested, they're going to get in trouble, they're going to break curfew, you fine the parents, and if the kid has to do community service, he's got to do it alongside the parents. I want to take pictures of the father who's a lawyer and the mother who's a judge. I want to take pictures of them picking up trash on the beach. So we can talk about that as well. And Donald Trump in Philadelphia today, later on this afternoon. No, I won't be there. I'm going to the beach. But why is he going to Philadelphia, and why Temple University, and why the Leocoris Center in the middle of North Philadelphia? We'll tell you why, we think. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back. More show after these words.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruising Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Holdland, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. A heat advisory in effect 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday. For this afternoon, sunny to partly cloudy and very hot with a cooling sea breeze that's developing, high 96. Mainly clear, very warm and humid tonight, low 75. Breezy, very hot tomorrow with clouds and sunshine, high up to 95. We've got a late night thunderstorm heading our way tomorrow night to wrap the weekend. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
We are back here on Talk with a Purpose, and if you want to listen to any of our shows at any time, that's what you can do. You Google John DeMasi podcasts, and all the shows come up. There are 227 shows, give or take. Give or take one or two. Come on. So you can just do that and listen to any of the shows at any time. It's a marvelous invention. It's radio on demand. It's John DeMasi Podcast. That's what you Google, and all the shows come up. We are Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. Let's talk to Jimmy in Eagleswood. Jimmy, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, John. And as always, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
What do you say here? I mean, to Margate City Council, booyah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Listen, I think this thing ought to go national, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, too. I think so, too.
We as a society have a hard time. We're feckless and gutless most times to get into homes and teach people how to raise their kid.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll just hit them in the damn pocketbook, and maybe that'll make them wake up and force their children. Oh, wait a minute! I got another idea. Why don't we put the 10 Commandments posted in each room? Listen, no one said Louisiana's going to teach the 10 Commandments. I don't think, and I could be wrong. They just said they're going to post them.
That's right.
So
right.
I need some individual in this country, as wacko as this country has, to stand up and tell me which one of the 10 Commandments aren't sensible.
Yes. Yeah.
Again, a code to raise your children by.
Yeah.
None of them. You know, the funny thing about the 10 Commandments, it doesn't mention religion. It just mentions how to treat each other.
Right.
It mentions I don't want to steal John DeMasi's things. I don't want to disrespect my parents and my elders. I mean, this is a basic group of tenets to live by. So what's wrong with hanging them? Booyah to Louisiana.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. And you know what I think? You know what I think, Jimmy? You know what? Even better? I think if they get a set of parents here to do the community service alongside their children, I think they ought to film that and post it online, you know, because that's what the kids watch. They watch everything online. So they'll see it and they'll say, oh, maybe I shouldn't be a rowdy kid, you know, because that's what will happen to me.
Hey, John, what isn't posted online?
That's right. That's right. You know?
Good point.
Yeah. So let's
just, if money and embarrassment doesn't inspire you to raise your children correctly, well, then I don't know what to tell you. Maybe they should just be taken away from you. But you can't. Now, I know for a fact, because I have law enforcement in my family, that a police officer cannot go into a public space and stop a juvenile from drinking and smoking weed. He will lose his job.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I've checked this with my relative, who's a sergeant. He looked at me and said, I will be reprimanded and can lose my job.
Wow.
Are we out of our minds?
That's
again, booyah to Margate.
Yeah.
Thank you, Margate people. As a matter of fact, why don't we just take the people in Margate and put them, who run the city of Margate, and put them up in the Congress in Washington, D.C. Maybe they can help out from there, too.
That's right. Hey, Jimmy, good call. Thanks a lot for the call. I remember, now this is, you have to understand the times. I was 16, and for some reason, the curfew, I think it was 11 o'clock. And I came home because we were talking or whatever with my friends, and I came home at 11:30. You would have thought, if you would have been dropped into that scene in my house at 11:30 that night, and you would have seen my father's reaction, you would have thought that I murdered somebody. I mean, I got a scolding like you wouldn't believe for being a half hour late. Can you imagine today? I mean, I just can't get over it. But I commend Margate and Louisiana. Bob and Cape May is back. Bob, good morning. Welcome back.
Hey, good morning, John. Look, my thoughts are very similar. The officials in Margate need to be congratulated. In our area, we have one industry, one major industry.
That's right.
That pays all the bills.
That's right.
And you get the perception that this area of the Jersey Shore is not safe. It is very discretionary. It is not like a utility company. It's not like a gas station.
That's right.
Where you need to buy that product, right? This is all purely, where do I decide to go on vacation? I can decide to go on vacation anywhere I want to.
Right.
Pretty much within my budget. And, these officials here in Cape May, these politicians, they expect us, meaning the tourist industry here, to pay the bills. We pay the bills, and meaning our customers really are the ones that pay the bills. I'm hit with an 8% room tax on top of the sales tax here, so nearly 15% tax right off the budget. My real estate tax here in Cape May is over $80,000 a year. Right, John.
Oh, that hurts.
Right. Well, look, I can't pay this unless I have customers that are willing to come here, and to allow juvenile delinquents to chase our customers away. All right. Political correctness, timidness needs to go out the window.
That's right.
Okay. We need to enforce our laws here. We need to enforce them strictly and ruthlessly. And these young punks, they need to be spanked a little bit. And they're not getting spanked by their fathers, apparently. Their parents are letting them get away with all sorts of crap that we never allowed. When you and I grew up, we weren't allowed to do this.
Oh, man. I could see, wait a minute. As my mother said to me one time when something happened in my house, she said, "You allow that? If that was your father when you were younger, you wouldn't be here now." And it's true. I wouldn't have even thought about that, because of the ramifications of what would happen at home. Yeah.
And again, this is so preventable. It really is. Okay, it's not like a hurricane killing a couple weeks or killing a season, which we can't do anything about.
Yeah.
But But I'm glad you brought it up. I congratulate you. Thank you, John, and hopefully some of these people will listen that are in city government. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah.
All right, John.
Thanks for the call, Bob. Appreciate it. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. And you heard Jimmy's call where one of his relatives is in law enforcement. And the police are not allowed to stop a kid from smoking marijuana. If they do, they get reprimanded, maybe lose their job. This is ridiculous. Come on now. What are we doing? I don't understand. I really do not understand the rationale behind that. But nevertheless, 609-407-1450, that's our number here. The debate, of course, the first debate is this Thursday, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And, is Trump going to clean his clock? Joe Biden's, we hope so. By the way, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did not make the cut. Yeah, well, There's a certain criteria. I think it was. I think he had to reach 15% in 4 reliable national polls by June 20th, which was a couple of days ago, and he did not meet that requirement. Okay, so Kennedy has received at least 15% in 3 qualifying polls, but and he's currently on the ballot in 6 states, making him currently eligible for 89 electoral college votes, and he's got to be eligible for, I think, 300. So he's not going to make it. I thought that he would that RFK would take votes away from both, but I think he would take more away from Biden because he's a liberal, and that's I don't know, but RFK Jr. will not be on the debate. It'll be Trump versus Biden. We'll see. Trump with a 10-point lead. Oh, I hope it's 20 after the debate. DJ in Summers Point. DJ, good morning. Welcome.
How you doing, John?
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. Just to offer the, I don't want to say the correct thing about kids smoking marijuana.
Yes.
Because I do stay up on this stuff.
Okay.
Because I've always said that the people that voted for this 3 years ago in February, when we're trying to get the pot laws up and running, were the dumbest collective group of individuals. No, they should all be charged with something.
I agree. I agree.
They should be. Is there a statute for being stupid or dumb, illiterate? Pick an adjective, because they were really, really, really dumb. Okay, and they're starting to realize. But here, a politician will never reverse themselves in most cases.
No.
Right. The only thing they reverse themselves when they put that stupid law in. Well, the juveniles, maybe the parents should know. But the thing is, police officers do not have to stand there and watch the kids smoke marijuana. Okay.
Yes.
They don't have to stand there and watch the people that are 18, 19, and 20 from smoking marijuana. They can go in. They can take what they're smoking. All right. And if they're 18, 19, or 20, they'll get their first warning. Ooh, don't do that anymore, okay? Don't you do that anymore. Because if you do, I'm going to tell you, man, don't mess with me. Because if you do and you get caught again, you're going to get a second warning.
Oh.
So you better knock it off. You understand me?
Yeah.
Right? And that goes for the marijuana, it goes for the booze, all right? Now, the juvenile, it's a little bit different. Now, the juvenile, they're going to be hauled off and taken in, and the parents got to come get them? No. They'll be kicked, and they will write something, and they will send it to the parents' address. That the address, a name and address that the juvenile gives them.
Yes.
But you can't really force them to get proper ID or anything like that. You got to hope that they give you the right name and they give you the right address.
Oh, boy.
But I have my sources say a lot of times the letter gets returned, with the Elvis Presley song "Return to Sender,"
yes,
because it's a bogus name and it's a bogus address.
Well, is that true? What
you have to watch you do, what I think the guy's relative was trying, as far as searching them, opening their bags, searching their cars, stuff like that, extending the probable cause. Okay, smell it. No, they're very, very restrictive. And that's when you can get not only a reprimand, in some cases you could end up being charged in a third-degree crime.
Jeez.
So you got to watch yourself. But you just, police officers can, they can stop somebody from actually smoking marijuana. But I got to tell you, that 18, 19, and 20-year-old drinking booze or smoking pot, they better watch it, because you know what happens when you get the third warning, John?
What?
They're going to get a warning, and then they're going to get literature on where maybe they can seek help. Now, I'll tell you, there's people that put that law together were brilliant people.
Jeez, I'll tell you.
Right? Brilliant. But they wanted their pots to get up and running. They conceded to the minorities, right?
Yeah.
To give the minorities a break as far as fines and stuff. And this is why you have this crap show you got today.
That's right. That's right.
And every one of those clowns that voted for that, right, should apologize to the people in New Jersey.
That's right. They sure. Hey, I want to tell you something. DJ. You're going to laugh at this. They are advertising heavily on the radio in Philadelphia to become a police officer. And guess what? If you sign up, you're going to get a $12,000 signing bonus. You believe that?
Well, that tells you how bad recruitment is.
Yes. I mean, they're heavily advertising it. Starting salary, $61,000 a year and a $12,000 signing bonus.
And and all that is a result of, it started a little bit after they did, well, in New Jersey, when they did away with the bail system.
Yeah.
And, of course, it really got crazy right after the George Floyd incident.
That's right. That's right.
Because they overcorrected, let's say.
Yeah. So I thought maybe you
overcorrected.
Yeah.
They defund. So now somebody's saying, giving you $12,000 just to sign up.
I thought maybe you'd want to come out of retirement.
No. In fact, that $12,000
they can keep it.
It's $5,000 more than what I started at when I started my career. When I started my career, I'm making $5,300 a year.
Wow.
How about that, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's at different times. DJ, as always, thank you for the call. No, he's not going to come out of retirement for $12,000. That goes to show you. I mean, that really goes to show you what it has come to in this country, that they're offering $61,000 to start and a $12,000 signing bonus. Oh, boy. Times they are a-changing. That is, hour number 2 is in the books. Hour number 3 is on the way. It's Talk with a Purpose, Saturdays, 9 till noon, WPG, Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Yes, we have more to talk about in hour number 3. I'll tell you about the editorial in the press the other day. What a joke that was. More on the way. Don't go away.
WPGG Atlantic City, WENJ HD3 Millville, a Town Square media station. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now. WPG Talk Radio 95.5 presents Talk with a Purpose. Join the conversation by calling 609-407-1450. Now the host of Talk with a Purpose, John DeMasi.
Hour number 3, Talk with a Purpose, every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. Good to have you along. And as always, the number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. 609-407-1450. We've been talking about, well, the city of Margate. Oh, yes, they got a pair of coyoons. Yes, they do. Talking about tourism, protecting tourism. And we're talking about that and what they're going to do. Parents will now have to do community service, maybe beside their kid, and be fined $1,000. It's good. And also Louisiana posting the 10 Commandments in each classroom. What do you think of that as well? 609-407-1450, the presidential debate coming up, and we're going to talk later on in this hour. An editorial in the press of Atlantic City the other day, and this guy owns a business. I don't know him, but he owns a business, and he's saying all kinds of good things about the windmills and offshore drilling and how it's going to create jobs. So I don't understand that. But we'll deal with that later on. Let's go to Andy in Brigantine. Andy, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning, John. It's a great day in the city of Brigantine.
Yes, it is.
Well, maybe. So on to this thing about unruly kids. The other day, I saw two very, very, very young girls on electric bicycles coming up my street. And they were riding abreast, and they were obviously into oncoming traffic, vehicular traffic, because there are no bike lanes on my street. And I'm coming up the street, and they give me a look like I had three heads. So I'm thinking, so I posted on Facebook, quote, unaccompanied prepubescent girls riding electric bikes abreast in both lanes against oncoming auto traffic. Really? With a question mark. So for my efforts, and I posted that on our Brigantine page, and one response was, quote, the most creepy description of youngsters I've ever seen. And I got another one telling me that I was a stalker of young girls, that I was a pervert, and she was taking a screenshot of my picture to show to the police to keep an eye out for me. So if you want to know why these kids do these things, there are two parents right there who are illustrative of the problem.
Yeah.
So apparently we have a lot of people. I mean, if you don't even know what the word prepubescent means, maybe you shouldn't even be raising kids. Okay. Someone else said I should have just used the word kids. So I tried to explain the word kids could mean two 18-year-old boys.
Yeah.
But they weren't. But and you know, the concern, would there be as much concern about two unaccompanied 18-year-old boys?
No.
As there would be about two prepubescent girls?
No.
Like what is a prepubescent girl? This is a 12, 11-year-old girl. What are two 11, maybe 10, 11-year-old, 12-year-old girls doing by themselves riding around the island on bikes? And especially now, when you hear what these illegal criminal invaders are doing, I mean, they seek out these little girls. They rape them. They kill them. I mean, how many instances of this have we had just in the past week or two?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you know, you could say, oh, well, that wouldn't happen in Brigantine. Well, you know, look at all these Norman Rockwell towns across the country where they thought, oh, that could never happen here. And then some lunatic freak walks into a school and shoots 20 people.
Yeah, that's right.
So you know, when you have parents like this, you know, they talk about all these crises we have in this country, the climate crises and all these other crises. The real crisis we have in this country that's causing most of the problem is we have a parenting crisis.
That's right.
We have people who do not keep an eye on their children, who do not teach them how to behave, who are not around to accompany them to make sure they behave and to give them a good crack upside the head when they don't.
Yeah. That's right.
And then the rest of us have to babysit other people's kids, and I'm not interested in doing that, John.
No, I neither am I. You know.
So that's one thing. Going back to a previous caller about this Michael Colangelo.
Yes.
Merrick Garland's third in command, Michael Colangelo, we are expected to believe that Merrick Garland didn't know what his third in command was doing, yet Donald Trump is expected to know what the person who worked in his bookkeeping office was doing, right?
Yes.
I mean, in bookkeeping, if Donald Trump is the CEO of the company, where is the bookkeeper? It's probably 20 people below him.
Right.
So, but Merrick Garland didn't know what the guy third below him was doing, right? But Trump is expected to know what the guy 20 below him was doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make this stuff.
No,
up.
it's true. It's true.
Now, I don't know. Do you watch Jeopardy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I know I don't put Channel 6 on in my house, period, because it's owned by Disney, and Disney's an evil company. The Disney, one of the Disney CEOs was just caught on tape by James O'Keefe of Project Veritas, saying that at Disney in California, they do not hire white people.
Jeez.
And as a matter of fact, he took it one step further and said that they don't even hire very light-skinned black people because they're not black enough.
Jeez.
So this is Disney. But just last night I happened to be at a friend's house and they watched Jeopardy, and I saw a commercial during Jeopardy for Mainline Health in Philadelphia. Mainline Health. Okay?
Yes.
And their new ad campaign is that they now perform, quote, gender affirming care.
Oh.
And I thought, a good slogan for Mainline Health is Mainline Health. We're a cut above and a cut below. Come here, we'll cut off your breasts and your penis. And they had all the colors of the rainbow. I mean, imagine your father, your mother killed themselves to put you through medical school, and here you are, a doctor, first do no harm, like John said, and here you are at a hospital cutting off the breasts and penises of 10-year-old children, 12-year-old children.
Jeez.
Isn't that nice, John?
Yeah,
what a country we live in. And finally, if Joe, and I've said this a number of times, and I've been not mocked, but people say, no way, no way, no way. I still maintain that if Joe Biden gets yanked from the campaign, that it's going to be Hillary Clinton. And people say, no way, everybody hates Hillary Clinton. And I say, yeah, that's true, but they hate Donald Trump more. And if they think that Hillary Clinton can beat Donald Trump, they'll put up with her because they'd rather have her that they hate a little bit than have Donald Trump, who they hate a lot. So, just like Joe Biden was merely a placeholder to get the White House, Hillary Clinton would be a placeholder to keep the White House. So there's no way Michelle Obama is going to give up her lifestyle as a multimillionaire with Barack, hobnobbing with all the Hollywood royalty, hanging out on their yachts, hanging out in Martha's Vineyard, hanging out in Hawaii. Why would they give all that up when they are actually running the country anyway from behind the scenes?
That's right.
But none of the bad stuff that they're doing to the country gets connected to them because they don't have the title. Joe Biden is the face of the presidency.
That's right.
So he's getting blamed for everything. What a wonderful way for Barack Obama and Michelle to live. They can destroy the country, but none of it will ever get attached to them because they're not the president.
That's right.
So they can live their lives of Riley, hobnobbing with all these people with their millions, while having the benefit of destroying the country, or as Barack would say, fundamentally transforming it, without ever actually getting blamed for all the bad stuff that's happening.
That's right.
Pretty good deal.
That's
Pretty good deal. Huh?
Good deal. Thanks for the call, Andy. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's nice work if you can get it. Hobnobbing with the stars, as Andy said. And the other night, did you see that? I of course, didn't watch it, but that fundraiser, George Clooney and Julia Roberts. Oh, I think about this. Do you think that George Clooney and Julia Roberts really care about the price of oil, or the price of olive oil, or the price of sugar, or anything of that sort? Do you think they worry about that? And do you think they care about the average American who's struggling to make ends meet? And we did a story last week, people are doing without food to make ends meet. Do you think George Clooney and Julia Roberts care about that? Of course they don't. Ridiculous. 609-407-1450. We have another rare moment in the show where we got some open lines. So if you want to jump in, this is a good time to do that. 609-407-1450. I saw this editorial in the press the other day, and I couldn't believe what I was reading, and I read it twice. But the other day, it was written by someone named Evan Sanchez. And if he's a listener, I would welcome him to come on and talk about this. In this editorial, Mr. Sanchez said that it is frustrating that residents are opposing such a great opportunity for Atlantic City and the state. And that opportunity is offshore wind. He says it will create 4,300 jobs and contribute $702 million to the state's economy. But what he doesn't say is, what if it kills all the fish? There goes that industry down the tubes. Oh. And, you know, he's also talking about the economic investment that Atlantic City needs right now. What is he talking about? Investment? Jobs? What are you talking about here? Killing the fish? Yes, we kill the fish in Atlantic City because we have wind farms. You got to believe that electricity, has to do something. If it killed whales, what's it going to do to the fishing industry? And it's a big industry here. You know, I just don't understand it. It's another thing that baffles me. I say that a lot. I don't understand it. Well, I don't. I really don't. It's going to create jobs. It's going to create revenue for New Jersey. Yeah, that's great. You're going to get $702 million, but what are you going to lose on the other hand? When people stop coming because, well, they kill fish down there. Talk with a Purpose is the show. Saturdays 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. I'm John DeMasi. 609-407-1450. After the break, we talk to Dan in Linwood. Maybe we'll talk to you at 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. We're coming back. More Talk with a Purpose after these words.
The finest fresh fruit and produce you'll find anywhere? Check. Award-winning gift baskets and fruit baskets? Check. Baked goods and prepared foods? Check. They check all the boxes. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield. And that's not all. Gourmet items, specialty foods, and catering for all occasions. It's all right there. Check them out online at bfmazzio.com. That's bfmazzio.com. B.F. Mazzio, 601 New Road, Northfield.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruisin' Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs to free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, brought to you in part by AMI Atlanticare, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, ServPro Team Fabiani, the Atlantic County Utilities Authority, Adams, Raymond, and Hagen in the community, Roy Silverstein, Atlantic Blueberry, and Brown & McCarthy Insurance. Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. And we will talk to Dan again in Linwood. Dan, welcome back.
John, when you leave the White House, let's say when Harry Truman left in 48.
Yes.
Yeah. Just as an aside, when Harry Truman was vice president, he actually lived in a 2-bedroom apartment.
Okay.
Thank you. In Washington. While he was vice president.
Yes.
And and Nixon had a little private home, and Gerald Ford had a little private home. It's not the big opulent naval observatory where the vice president goes in now, and they live in opulence. And of course, they get Air Force Two and all that stuff. But when Barack Obama left his term, basically in January 2017, he bought a house 2.5 blocks away. Well, I think it was 2 miles away, but in Washington, D.C., $8.1 million a mansion.
Yeah.
And the girl who used to run his White House moved in there, Valerie Jarrett.
Yes.
So since Barack Obama, since that time, 2017 to 2024, he's got a mansion in Chicago, a beautiful mansion / beach house in Hawaii, and a beautiful / mansion beach house in Martha's Vineyard. And the question is, what did he do for the African-American race? And the answer is not much.
No, not much. Well, didn't he get, him and Michelle had book deals, didn't they?
Book deals, yeah. They signed a $100 million TV deal with Netflix.
That's right. Yeah, that too. Yeah. So that bought a few houses, huh?
Yeah, well, as the saying goes, they went to Washington to do good, and they ended up doing very, very well.
Yeah, they sure did.
Now, John, here's a question for you. This is a technology question. Who did the first downloads?
Who did the first downloads?
Yes, technology question.
Oh boy, I when it comes to technology, I would have failed if that was a course in school because I am bad at that.
The answer actually was God. He downloaded from the cloud. He downloaded onto tablets the Ten Commandments.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So we had the cloud and the tablets. So he was the first. And I think he might have been disappointed because he had to send 1,500 years. It wasn't working out. Things were getting worse and worse. And then he sent Jesus here to try to improve things. But I think the evilness of the population, the evil that goes through a lot of our population, which is showing up today even more, is kind of overwhelming. So we got to go more with the good, and got to get back to prayer. And we got to get back to just doing basically good things. They go against the love thy neighbor and all this stuff. And today it's basically, take advantage of your neighbor.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It's no good. And
it isn't.
When you were talking about 17-year-old on the boardwalk, there was a bunch of guys going near the water back in 1944, 80 years ago. And they're a bunch of 17-year-old kids, and they were hitting the beach at Normandy.
Yeah. A little different, huh?
Little different. That's why they call them the greatest generation.
That's right. They were brave. That's for sure. Fearless.
Yeah,
fearless.
They told Yogi Berra, put your bat down. Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, Bob Feller, put your glove down. You guys are heading out, and then there they went.
That's right. That's right.
And they all served their country. Baseball teams were basically resigned to having rookies and older guys fill in during those war years because all the stars basically were at war.
That's right. Try that today, huh? Huh, Dan?
Well, and then when they came home, what did they do? It became the baby boomers, and they contributed to the economy, and they set up everything that we have, and guess what? We're blowing it.
Yeah, well, that's true. We won't be around to see the end result, fortunately, but thanks for the call, Dan. Bill in Ocean City. Bill, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Morning, John. The purpose of my call is to remind everyone that we need to start early voting for this presidential election. We can't wait for November 5th. We're allowed to vote starting October 26th. You can go to a voting place. You can take a mail-in ballot and mail it or deliver it to your Board of Elections. That's what the Democrats have been doing with their harvested votes for a lot of different elections. And we have to participate. We can't just complain about what the law should be. We have to recognize what the law is in New Jersey and use it to Trump's advantage. Republicans, Democrats, Independents who support Trump should get out and vote as soon as possible. And then a simple question again I'll ask. I'd like a Board of Elections official to answer. What are they doing to watch these ballot boxes to make sure they're not being stuffed in the middle of the night with illegal ballots?
Yeah, that's a Joe Girallo question. I will certainly get in touch with them this week to find out.
We are still waiting for an answer to that.
Yeah.
Because that is a weak point. You can cheat, you can harvest votes, pay for votes, cook up votes, and stuff them in large numbers at 2 a.m, and nobody will know about it in time to do anything about it. So please get us an answer for that.
Yes, I will. I will. Thanks for the call, Bill. John in Ocean City. John, good morning. Welcome back.
Yes. People say that there's 7 seas. Actually, there are 50 seas. 10 of those 50 seas are the most treacherous bodies of water on the face of the earth. However, per oceans, you have the Arctic, you have the Southern, you have the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian. Of those 5 oceans, the Atlantic Ocean is the most treacherous body of water on the face of the earth. Did the people that want to put those wind farms up consider that? They couldn't care less. Now, in 2017, from August 25th to September 23rd, I believe, there were 3 back-to-back hurricanes. It was Harvey, Irma, and Maria. Now, I believe they're man-made, but even if you don't believe it, if you believe it's climate change or you believe it's cyclical, like Mr. Holy had said, whatever the case may be, they said you can count on that being on the increase from here on in. So why would they want to build them stinking wind farms offshore? Because there's big money to be made. That's why. Understand, too, that, yes, there were Russian submarines 30 miles off of Melbourne, Florida, 30 miles. Off the coast of Cuba, Russian ships, and don't have to worry about getting close enough with a torpedo. Just send an underwater drone. This is the 21st century. I'm sorry, but we're in a different paradigm. Poseidon cannot be detected by satellites. That's the stealth capability of a Poseidon, of a Russian submarine, a Poseidon, that top-of-the-line submarine that can fire an underwater drone with a nuclear warhead. With a nuclear warhead inside the drone itself, at the nose of it. I'm trying to think of it. At the nose of the drone, it can be equipped with a nuclear device, which can cause a nuclear explosion. Okay, they can do that. It's a different century. They can do things like that. So, have the Russians forgotten that the CIA, the EU, and the NATO were indeed, in fact, responsible for blowing up 3 of the 4 Nord Stream pipelines of Nord Stream 1 and 2. They haven't forgotten that. So all these things involved. And the cables underneath it can be cut. Those cables that bring the electricity from the windmills or wind farms to the coast, to the mainland, can be severed. But do they care? No, they couldn't care less. And they're going to build these stinking wind farms on the backs of the United States taxpayers for the next 10 generations? Now it's time to stand up to these a-holes. Thanks.
Thanks, John. Thanks for the call. Again, well thought out by John. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. Joe Biden is at it again. What am I talking about? The president has ordered expansive election year action. This happened this past Tuesday. Offering potential citizenship. Listen to how he's getting around this. Asking or offering potential citizenship to hundreds of thousands of immigrants without legal status in the U.S., aiming to balance his recent aggressive crackdown on the southern border that upset many Democratic lawmakers. Can you say buying votes, Joe? Exactly right. The president announced that his administration will, in the coming months, allow certain U.S. citizens' spouses without legal status to apply for permanent residency and eventually citizenship without having to first depart the country. Huh? Yeah. That's, hey, more buying votes. The move could affect upwards of 500,000 immigrants. It's a lot of votes, Joe. And you want them, right? We'll see. 609-407-1450. Al in Corbin City. Al, good morning.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. Buying the votes. I paid off my wife's student loan, my daughter's student loan.
Yeah.
Are they going to give me my money back now?
Oh, yeah. Whistle for that.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, you take a loan. I mean, I ought to call them up. Hey, you know what? Why don't you take pay my mortgage off? I'll vote for you.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
All this is buying votes. All these illegal aliens coming in. One way or another, they're going to figure a way to sit there and register them to vote.
Yep.
And who are they going to vote for?
Yeah, that's right.
They're already wearing T-shirts that say with Biden's picture on it.
Jeez.
I mean, did you see that on Fox?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
I mean, and they act like we're stupid.
Yeah.
We are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't know how, if you're a Democrat, you can really honestly sit there and vote for this man. What he's done for this country is just nothing but horrible.
I don't either. I don't understand. Even if I was a hardcore Democrat, I mean, I'd look at this thing. I'm reading a book now comparing Joe Biden to Jimmy Carter. And you know what? In this book so far, Jimmy Carter looks real good compared to Joe Biden.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I mean,
he is absolutely the worst president we've had in history.
Yes,
barring none.
Yes, I agree. And
this whole idea of letting all these people in is to break this country down because we shouldn't be the only superpower. What the hell is wrong with that? We're not a country that goes and invades people. We're not a country that we try to help. We've always tried to help people. And this is nonsense.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I don't know. And if we don't support Israel, I want to tell you what God said. It says, those that support Israel, I'll bless, and those that don't, I'll destroy. And you look at any country that really came against the Jews throughout the Bible, they ended up, even when Israel was stupid and broke away from God, he ended up destroying them. Babylon, Syria, you name it.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too, Al. Thanks for the call. Rodney and EHT. Rodney, good morning. Welcome.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to say that somewhere in the book of Psalms, it says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth forth his handiwork. So from just that passage alone, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth forth his handiwork. We can conclude from that God's laws are connected to his creation. The law of God is always more clearly described directly within his creation than it is in man's books, even man's laws books that might be out of line with God's laws. And God is very proud of his creation. He does not want to see those stupid windmills put in there, corrupting his creation.
Yeah, I agree. No, I just got to believe if so far we've had dead whales, if we put all this electricity underground, we're going to have dead fish. That's what I mean, and I'm not a scientist. I have no knowledge of any of that, but I just got to believe that that's going to kill the fish.
I think we should have rebuilt that Beasley's Point power station, and I'm not sure, but I think operatives from the windmill people might have been the ones that blew it up to prevent us from getting it rebuilt.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, these are enemies of the United States, and they are not to be trusted because they're messing up our seashore. And first of all, they don't have any respect for God because you got to have respect for God's creation if you have respect for God, and they do not.
Well, they certainly don't. How many whales do we have to kill before we get respect?
Right.
Yeah.
That one Bible passage, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth forth his handiwork. You got to keep that passage in mind because that describes like this is God's creation, and He's very proud of what He made.
That's right. That's right.
Like if you painted a famous picture, wouldn't you be proud of that famous picture?
Sure would. Yeah.
Well, the same with God. When He made all these creatures and things, He's very proud of these little mansions, He calls them. He said, in my Father's house there are many mansions, many different kinds of animals. He's very proud of His creation.
Well,
all right, this is my message.
Thank you, Rodney. Thanks for the call. Rob in Linwood. Rob, good morning. You're on Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John.
How you doing?
Short story. I live in Linwood. I don't go on social media because when I first opened a Facebook account, back in maybe, I don't know, 07, 08, whenever they invented it, I had somebody contact me, was a high school sweetheart, and of course the photograph was her and her family at the convention, wherever it was, for Obama out in Dallas.
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Oh,
that
jeez.
being said, I don't do social media, but I do hear the scuttlebutt in Linwood about, and I don't go on the bike path, but about these kids on the scooters. So to piggyback on your earlier caller, I'm going north on Dowdy Road from Washington Avenue and coming right at me outside, almost in my lane. Now, it's only 2 lanes, is a, whatever he described, I don't know whether she was pre-puberty or post-puberty, but a young girl coming right at me. Now, there's cars coming the opposite way. I can't veer any much further. Well, my side mirror clipped one of the oncoming cars to avoid taking her out.
Jeez.
So now, had I not done that, am I the one that gets dragged into court for vehicular homicide?
Jeez.
And I'll hang up.
Yeah, that's a, and the answer to that question, probably. Boy, I'll tell you. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. Tom is in EHT. We'll take him after the break. And maybe you at 609-407-1450. Got a couple of open lines. So a good time to get in here before we leave you at 12 o'clock. 609-407-1450. I'm John DeMasi. It is Talk with a Purpose. Every Saturday, 9 till noon. WPG Talk Radio 95.5. We're coming back. More Talk with a Purpose after these words.
If you're interested in driving one of the finest automobiles on the market today, then you'll want to check out all of the fabulous new and pre-owned Lexus at Lexus of Atlantic City. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Driving a Lexus is like no other vehicle on the market. Test drive one for yourself at Lexus of Atlantic City. Whether it's new or pre-owned, you'll be more than satisfied. In fact, Lexus is consistently #1 when it comes to customer satisfaction. Visit Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. Or you can check out their outstanding selection of new, pre-owned, and L-certified pre-owned vehicles on their website, LexusofAtlanticCity.com. That's LexusofAtlanticCity.com. Or if you want more information, call 609-641-0008. Lexus of Atlantic City, now celebrating their 26th year in the area. A dealership that you'll enjoy. No pressure, no gimmicks, no hassle, no hype. Lexus of Atlantic City, 3169 Fire Road in EHT. And remember, always online at LexusofAtlanticCity.com.
Thank you very much. The Greater Hamilton Chamber of Commerce, in conjunction with AMI Atlanticare, presents the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton, the blueberry capital of the world. Blueberry pies, bagels, scones, cannoli, ice cream, the Kiwanis pancake breakfast, live music from Stealing Savannah, and party with DJ Nikki G. Great food, crafters, kiddie rides, and the Cruisin' Classics car show. Over 1 million blueberries. Sunday, June 30th, Hamilton High School grounds, just off Route 30 in Hamilton. Free admission, follow signs for free festival parking. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival brought to you in part by AMI Atlantic Care, NJM Insurance Group, Rothman Orthopedics, Serve Pro Team Fabiani, D'Amico Travel, Glossy Fruit Farms, the Hamilton Gazette, Herring Fire Protection, and Hoagland, Longo, Moran, Dunst, and Dukas. The Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, Sunday, June 30th in Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Your WPG Talk Radio 95.5 AccuWeather forecast for South Jersey. A heat advisory in effect 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday. For this afternoon, sunny to partly cloudy and very hot with a cooling sea breeze that's developing. High 96. Mainly clear, very warm and humid tonight. Low 75. Breezy, very hot tomorrow with clouds and sunshine. High up to 95. We've got a late night thunderstorm heading our way tomorrow night to wrap the weekend. I'm AccuWeather's Ruth O'Brien on WPG Talk Radio 95.5.
Back here on Talk with a Purpose, again, 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio, 609-407-1450. Let's talk to Tom in EHT. Tom, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Good morning. How you doing?
How you doing?
I want to talk about the windmills.
Yes.
The ugly, polluting windmills.
Yes.
It's hard to believe that they want to put those out there. Do they really realize how much it will cost to maintain them and to build them out in the ocean?
Yeah, you know, I haven't heard, but I mean, it's got to be a lot.
Well, you're going to have fleets of tugboats. You're going to have fleets of barges, fleets of cruise ships. Crew boats with big, heavy equipment on them, and they're all union wages. They all make a lot of money.
That's right.
Just to go fix one windmill, and there's going to be thousands of them.
Yeah.
So by the time they generate, they're going to be losing so much money in fuel and polluting diesel fuel by thousands of gallons every day. But they want a green product out there that they make it in China that are polluting the whole world, but they're going to bring a green product down here. It's ridiculous.
It really is. You're talking about repairs. They're saying, oh, there's going to be jobs. Yeah, the jobs are going to be repairing the windmills, which are supposed to work all the time, but they won't because they're going to be repairing them. It's a vicious circle,
Yeah, and you have just to fix one windmill, you're going to have a whole crew of boat. Full crew people.
Yeah.
Just to fix one, check the oil in one. That's thousands and thousands of dollars every minute.
Yep.
And besides that, there are cables going across the ground, like just covering the whole seafloor, going across shipwrecks and all kinds of stuff. I'm a diver. I run a dive boat. And they want us to go weave in between these things to go hit a wreck.
Yeah.
Which they just drove a big piling down in there. You got a big substation out there. It's going to look like an oil rig to be all along the whole coast. You think a windmill's ugly? Where do you see these things?
Yeah.
They're foreign countries.
Yeah.
Why give all the tax credits to foreigners? It should be all American, 100%.
That's right.
So I don't know. Atlantic City windmills. How much you think it costs to maintain and do that? They drive up in a car. They go up there. They're going to have whole fleets of boats running around, burning diesel fuel all day, every day, running from one to the other. It's crazy.
I agree. Tom, thanks for the call. Every time we talk about this, somebody brings up something else that's a negative. So I'm waiting for somebody to write all these negatives down in an editorial, repairs, diesel fuel, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 609-407-1450. If you want to talk about anything that we've discussed today, whether it be the posting of the 10 Commandments in Louisiana schools, which I think is a good thing. You can chime in on that. What do you think about Margate? Margate, huh? They are. I tell you what. They really did it this week. They say they're going to enforce the law, and it's already on the books that parents will be ticketed if your teen gets in trouble. Police in Margate say they will begin enforcing an existing ordinance that allows them to issue summonses to the parents of juveniles observed unsupervised after the 10 p.m. curfew, or if they're breaking laws. The tickets will require appearing in municipal court and could result in fines up to $1,000 and up to 90 days of community service. And I've added to this, you got to film the parents doing the community service, picking up trash on the beach. You got to film that and then post it on Facebook and all the social media stuff, because that's all the kids respond to these days, social media. I saw a teenager, I guess she's a teenager. I saw her in Wawa the other day. She could not wait in line. And there was like 2 or 3 people in line. She couldn't wait in line. She had to check her cell phone. And she's texting it. I can't believe this. The kids don't put the phone down. I mean, it's unbelievable. So that's why I say, if you start posting this stuff and you start making an example of certain parents and certain kids, boy, you're going to get a backlash. And so what if the people are saying, I don't like that. That's really unfair to post that. No, it is fair. It is fair. Because is it fair for teens to be rowdy and to potentially ruin our tourist system? Because let's face it, and we've heard it here, people don't need to come to the shore. That's all we have to do. And you know what's going to happen? July 4th, if there's rowdy teens all over the news, Channel 6, Channel 10, Channel 3, they'll all do it. They'll all, rowdy teens at the shore. And then some people will say, the Poconos is looking really good this time of year. So, that's what we have to look at. That there are alternatives to the shore. And if people don't come here, that's our tourism. That's our livelihood. That's our lifeblood. So, I really commend Margate for doing what they're doing and enforcing the law. But you got to make some examples of it. That's the thing there. You have to make some examples. 609-407-1450. That's our number here in the studio. 609-407-1450. I mentioned earlier that Donald Trump is going to appear in Philadelphia today, later on this afternoon. And he did this earlier this week. He was in Detroit. And the audience was predominantly white. But Mr. Trump said, the crime is most rampant right here in African American communities. Now, I know they're going to say, Donald Trump is racist. But if he's saying crime is rampant in African American communities, well, it is. I mean, statistics show that. So then he said, more people see me and say, sir, we want protection. We want police to protect us. And the audience cheered at that remark. Now, here's what I think Trump is doing by appearing in Philadelphia today. He's appearing at the Liacouras Center, which is right in the middle of North Philadelphia, which is right in the middle of Temple University. I don't think that he thinks he's going to get a majority of the black vote. But what I think is he's trying to make inroads. Now, the statistics have shown that Trump is making inroads with blacks in this country. But he's still way behind Biden by a wide margin. But now, here's the thing. A few points here and there with the black vote, and Trump gets, maybe he wins a particular state. I think that's what the thinking is. There's no way he wins Philadelphia. There's no way. So I don't see that happening. But what he's trying to do is trying to just bridge the gap a little bit. We'll see. Andy is back. Andy and Brigantine. Welcome back.
Yeah, John, regarding crime, you might remember when Michael Bloomberg, a tape was released of him talking about this when he was running for president. And he said that the reason the police spend so much time in minority communities is because that's where the crime is.
Yeah.
And the statistics bear this out, and they have for decades. I mean, and Heather McDonald, if you ever read anything by Heather McDonald, she is probably the country's leading expert on this topic. She's written profusely about this. The crime, you talk about New York City, or any major city, while African Americans make up 15% of the total population, they are responsible for 50% of the crime.
Right.
And it isn't. Now remember, it's African Americans make up 13% total of the population, but it's not. It's, you got to exclude the little kids, the babies, the old people, and the women generally. It's generally the young men who are causing the crime. So out of the 13%, it's maybe 6 African-American young men that are causing 50% of the crime in this country.
Yes.
But I'm not pointing fingers. Those are the statistics from our own FBI. So if you don't like the numbers, it's Joe Biden's FBI. Blame him.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is that is not going to change because the Democrats don't want it to change. I've gone over this so many times. As long as minority communities are a shambles, the Democrats are going to be able to bait them, to dangle the carrot that if you vote for us, we will fix your communities. But if the communities were fixed, the people living there might not feel compelled to vote Democrat. As long as the communities are a shambles, they can continue to dangle the carrot. So if the problem is fixed, the carrot no longer exists. It's like Rush Limbaugh has said, God rest his soul, Democrats don't fix problems. Democrats create problems so that they can then run on fixing the very problems that they themselves created.
That's right.
So if you ruin the minority communities and keep them ruined, then you can run on fixing those communities. But they never have any intention of fixing them. They've had 60 years, John,
to
fix these communities,
right,
and they haven't done it. Why? Because the status quo works for them, and those communities keep voting for them. That's
right.
simple.
That's right. Andy, thank you for the call. Good stuff. Chuck and Absecon. Chuck, good morning. Welcome to Talk with a Purpose.
Hey, John, good to talk to you again. Always good to follow Andy from Brigantine.
Yeah, that's right.
I was actually over there this morning, John. I was down at the jetty, and it is a beautiful day in Brigantine.
Yes, it is.
Andy.
Yes, it is.
Well, and what Andy was saying, you don't have to look any further than school choice, John. School choice, the Democrats are totally against it. And why? Because they don't want the kids to have a good education. They want to keep them on the plantation. That's my opinion. Okay, and I told you last week. What problem has the Democrats fixed? I'm still waiting.
No, none.
They don't fix anything, John. They just destroy stuff. But anyway, this is what Trump should do. You were saying he's going to pick off some votes by going into Philly. What he's going to do, he's going to thin the herd as far as the if he picks off a bunch of votes in Philly, he's not going to carry Philly.
No, of course not. No.
If he dilutes the vote there,
that's right.
He has a better shot at winning Pennsylvania.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, what I saw from the rally in the Bronx, and he's going there today about crime. But what he has to say to the people, and because John, it has to be too big to rig, because we have to make up for the cheating. Okay. So he should go in there and target the Democrats, the ones that flipped, like Jeff Van Drew, Tulsi Gabbard. The party left them. Tulsi Gabbard was the vice chair under Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she left the party when they rigged it for Hillary against Bernie Sanders.
Yes,
she had enough of it. And then how can you be on board with this insanity, with this transgender crap, with the open borders, with the illegals raping and murdering?
Yeah.
So the party is leaving you behind, Democrats, like Trump said in 2016, and he ought to say it again. What do you got to lose?
That's right.
Come on board.
That's right.
Let's straighten this country out. Can we get back to somewhat normal, John?
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever get back to normal, but who's a better guy to do it? We need the disruptor. We need the bull in the china shop right now to straighten this crap out.
That's
He's
right.
the guy for the job at the right time in history.
That's right.
God put him there for a reason,
That's
John.
right. That's right.
We'll
Trump.
leave it at that.
That's
so
right.
Democrats, come on over. Come on board, and let's straighten this mess out.
That's right. You got it. Those are good words to end the show with, huh? Good stuff, Chuck. Well, that's going to put the wraps on another edition of Talk with a Purpose. Thanks to Chris Coleman, our program director and producer, for doing his usual excellent job. And thanks to you, our callers, because, like I say, without you, there's no me. I'm John DeMasi. It's Talk with a Purpose every Saturday, 9 till noon, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. You have yourself a great week. Enjoy yourself. Stay out of the heat. Take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you next Saturday, 9 till noon. Talk with a Purpose, WPG Talk Radio 95.5. Take care.
The preceding program was paid for and presented by John DeMasi.